Welcome back to Eat Sleep Boxing Repeats YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Paul Kelly for another boxing betting tips show. Paul, thanks for your time as always. Looking forward to getting your tips for this weekend's boxing. There's a lot going on. We'll go straight into it. What is your first boxing betting tip for us?
Yes, so I'd say that the biggest fight of the weekend, you've probably got to say, is the return of Gennady Golovkin. Although it's not against the it's not the Canelo trilogy or one of the other massive fights that people potentially want. I still think it's a very good fight against Murata, who is no pushover whatsoever. His two defeats, yes, but he avenged both of those defeats. He's got quite a lot of knockouts himself. I don't think Golovkin will stop Murata. I think he might win. I don't think it'll be the Golovkin of old, though. I think he'll win, but I could see it being decision. Yes, although it's in Japan, you might think, oh, the Japanese home decision, but they're nowhere near as bad as us in Britain, I'm going to assume. So I think that if Golovkin does win fair and square, they'll maybe give him it. And I think that Golovkin to win on points at 5-2 is a great price. So I think that would probably that's the first one that really appealed to me.
Sounds good. I think Golovkin, back in the day, he was kind of like a massive puncher, but I think obviously he's that bit older now. If you look at his last few fights, a lot of them have actually gone the distance rather than him stopping his opponent. And Murata hasn't been stopped in his career. So 5-2. It's a good start, mate. Like that one. Cool. We will move on to your next tip.
So there's quite a few fights around the 154 division, the super welterweight division, which are quite interesting. And the first one I'm going to go with is the Tony Harrison Sergio Garcia fight. Over here in Britain, people probably know Sergio Garcia from the Ted Cheeseman fight. He beat him rather comfortably. However, he is coming off a loss to Sebastian Fendora, who's also fighting this weekend, but I'll come on to him in a second. But I think the Tony Harrison Sergio Garcia fight's another really, really close one. Sergio Garcia is the favorite with the bookmakers, but for me, I can see Tony Harrison winning this. And just to win, he's 2-1. So I kind of think that did jump out to me a little bit again. When you're going on to check the odds and you kind of have rough idea of what it's going to be in your head, and then it's not what you think it's going to be. That kind of jumped out to me because I thought that, yes, it probably is a 50-50 fight, and I can see why they're edging towards Garcia. But for me, I think Harrison potentially has a bit more than Garcia.
Yeah, I feel like both good fighters, but I think if you consider, in my opinion, Harrison has kind of got the better names on his resume. I think it's an intriguing fight, but 2-1 just for Harrison to win is it's another good price for me. I like that. Cool. We move on.
The third single I'm going to mention is comes in the 1-4-5-4 division as well, and it's the one that I quickly mentioned there about Sebastian Fendora. He's fighting Erickson Lubin. Fendora hasn't been beaten. He's 18-0-1. He only has a draw in his career, and 18 of his 18 wins, 12 come by knockout. Lubin, on the other hand, is 24-1. Has been stopped in the first round by Jermell Charlo, but Charlo, that's contending with the best in the division. Both carry quite a punch, and I think sometimes, I don't know if you'll agree with me, that when you've got two punchers, how many times does it go to the distance? Both know that they could get banged out probably at any time by the other. And we discussed this with Eliot Grigg as well on our preview show. I know you think that Fendora slightly has the edge. I agree with Eliot Grigg in the sense that I think Lubin might win. So Lubin to win on points it's better than 2-1. It's 12-5. I think that's another. I look at those three singles so far, and I think they're all very good prices for what it's worth.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Lubin Fendora, classic 50-50 fight. Struggling if I had to make a prediction, go for Fendora, but not against the idea of Lubin winning either. Really like those three, mate. Cool. Was there anything else from you, or are we ready to calculate that treble?
Yeah, well, no, that will be my treble. I'll tell you about that in a second. But I mean, it's one of those where I know I did say in the preview that I think I'm just going to go back to the Golovkin fight really quickly. Yeah. I did say that I think it's a lot closer than the bookmakers make it. And say if you think Murata, if you think he'll win, I don't know, quite a lot of people will. I know some of the podcasts, boxing podcasts, I listen to a few of them, think Murata might just be too young, too fresh in his home country against Golovkin. So if you think he'll win, whether you think that would be by decision, he's 13-2. If you don't think he can stop Golovkin, because we know Golovkin has a granite chin as well. But then at his age, you think, could Murata knock him out? If you do, is it going to be in the second half of the fight? I would say so. If I see Murata winning, I think it would be by knockout in the second half of the fight, which is actually 18-1. So mad odds.
Yeah, but if you can, it's an unpredictable fight, to be honest. And Murata, it's in Japan. This is the biggest fight of his life, and when you're 40 and you've spent 18 months out the ring, I don't think anyone can guarantee what's going to happen here. So Murata, second half of the fight, 18-1. No, fair enough. I do think Golovkin will win, but I can't promise you that's going to happen because we don't really know what's left. Golovkin could get stopped or lose on points on Saturday, and then that kind of could be it for him. So fair enough. Murata, 18-1 KO second half of the fight. No, not against that idea.
So yeah, we'll get to the treble, and the treble I'm going to give you is those three main ones that I mentioned: the Lubin to win on points against Fendora, Harrison just to win against Sergio Garcia, and Golovkin to win on points against Murata. If you combine them and put them into a treble, you actually get odds of 35-1 for the treble, which I think, it's usually we're looking around 10-1 or so for a treble, the shorter odds. But I know that's 35-1, but it's one of them where you look at each one individually and you can definitely make a case for it. It's not an absolutely outrageous one. So yeah, £10 would return you 360, including your stake. Even a fiver would return you £180. So I think it's definitely worth a couple of quid putting them in a treble together.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It's you're right. Like, I think when you look at all three of them, they're all definitely possibilities. So it could come off. You could get 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. It's gonna be interesting to see how that bet ended on Sunday morning. But no, thanks for that, Paul. I like that treble, like the outsider bet that you mentioned as well. Lots to discuss, and we'll be back next weekend for another boxing betting tip show. But thanks very much for your time, mate.
Cheers, Eliot. All the best.